On the 27th of June, 1982, director Steven Spielberg screened his highly successful film, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, for Ronald and Nancy Reagan and their guests at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. The film was shown in the White House Family Theater, which FDR had converted from a cloakroom known as the Hat Box in 1942. At the end of the screening, and as confirmed by Spielberg in 2011, President Reagan stood up, thanked him for the film and the wonderful evening, and then stated without smiling that there were a few people in the audience who knew it to be based on truth. Soon after this, Ronald Reagan would often make, or attempt to make, comments about E.T. and the potential unifying impact of an external alien threat. Here he is in October 1982, making an E.T. joke with Apollo 17 astronaut and U.S. Senator Harrison Jack Schmitt while standing in front of Air Force One at Hangar 84 in Roswell, New Mexico.
It feels good to be here in the land of enchantment and far away from a place of disenchantment on the banks of the Potomac. Jack, are you sure you want to go back there? Of course, having once been an astronaut, Jack Schmitt is probably the only one who feels at home there, because Washington is in orbit most of the time about one thing or another. You know, when he was first elected to the Senate, he probably thought that, like E.T., he had landed on another planet. He was one of the few among those alien big spenders.
How much does this thing cost?
The economics of the future are somewhat different. You see, money doesn't exist in the 24th century.
In 1985, 1987, and 1988, Ronald Reagan would foot-stomp the unifying alien threat concept as follows.
I couldn't help at one point in my discussions privately with General Secretary Gorbachev, when you stop to think that we're all God's children wherever we may live in the world, I couldn't help but say to him, just think how easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held if suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species from another planet outside in the universe. We'd forget all the little local differences that we have between our countries, and we would find out once and for all that we really are all human beings here on this earth together. Well, I don't suppose we can wait for some alien race to come down and threaten us, but I think that between us we can bring about that realization. In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war? But I've often wondered, what if all of us in the world discovered that we were threatened by a power from outer space, from another planet? Wouldn't we all of a sudden find that we didn't have any differences between us at all? We were all human beings, citizens of the world, and wouldn't we come together to fight that particular threat?